Good morning, friends. Today is Tuesday, July 11th, 2023. Welcome back to my gardens. Today is my birthday. That's right. Happy birthday to me. I turned 35 today. 35. Hard to imagine. But what a great way to start it by taking some time out with you in my gardens. Gardening has become such a passion of mine. Who would have thunk 10 years ago when we bought the house that this random thing I did for my mom in her house growing up with flowers would grow and blossom into what it is for me, for perennials and for vegetables. And it's been a wonderful time. So on my birthday, I say thank you to my family, to my wonderful dear mother, to my beautiful wife, my fantastic girls, my in-laws, all my family and friends. Thank you for loving me. I love you too. Let's just start with the flower gardens and work our way into the vegetable garden. Here we are in Phyllis's garden. It's a lot of stunningness. Stunning. We'll begin at the end. Now, we've had such a drought. It's the middle of July and just no rain. Phyllis has been watering this occasionally at nights, which I think is why it's doing so well. But it's established. Hostas are in bloom. You can see the ones that I transplanted a couple weeks ago coming back from Michigan. They're all looking really nice. Over here, the panicle hydrangea is starting to bloom. Not very much growth on it this year, but that is, again, drought. Cone flowers are in bloom. The yarrow is stunning. Yarrow is one of my favorites. I think I'm going to add some different collared varieties as the years go on. I had a common milkweed come up. I thought that was kind of funny. Of the 3 lavenders I planted last year, 2 of them came back. Really lovely. The Roseanne geranium is ending. Look at how cool the seeds look on the lupins. And the daisy chunk is massive. My goodness, I think this is doubled in size. I should split it because there should be not cone flowers, blanket flowers coming up here. And you can see this is the only blanket flower. And the bee balm was pretty pathetic. The Monarda here, this is all that came up of it. It should have been much more. So I don't know if it's a soil thing or a shade thing or what. This hydrangea here, again, the drought, just making it look pretty sad. The astilbe look awfully sad too. But we take what we can get, we make the most of it. And if we step back and look, we can certainly appreciate the beauty. Thanks, Lynn and Jerry, for helping design this a couple years ago. In case you're curious, 2 of my window boxes are up there, and the geraniums are doing just fine. Moving on. 1 lone rose campion. Don't know why the rest didn't send anything up. Look how tiny the phlox is in the front. These should be nearly twice as tall, and the heads should be twice as thick. This doesn't get any water outside from rain. That's why this garden is so darn short. That and the shade from the tree. The hanging pots and planters look great. I love how they're spilling over. And just petunias, right? I love petunias. Well, this is butterfly weed. I've got this growing in a couple spaces. I really love it. It's quite lovely. I'm going to split this and the one in the back. Spread it around. Let's look how nicely they are spilling over. Beautiful. And our flag flying for the 4th. I had 1 new plant this year die, except for this, and I've even been watering it because it's a new plant. I hope I can get a warranty on that. That's a white astilbe. The only one of all the plants that we put over here that died, which is really surprising. On to the new garden. So pretty. Step back there, because I'm still in love with the path. Speaking of the path, all of the sedum acre that I planted, it's struggling despite being watered It's really struggling. Some parts look good, like you can see the actual green growth in and among the brown. And then some parts just look like they failed. So it's hard for me to be optimistic about it or to know what to expect, being the first year of transplant and being so darn dry despite being watered. I fear that the extreme heat and dryness has killed it already. Won't really know until spring next year. So fingers crossed for me. But I just want to show you things are in bloom. It's so funny how tiny this looks when you immediately come from Phyllis's garden over there, where the plants are established more by 2 years. Think of this in 2 years being much taller and much more full, but it's still so beautiful. Long live the blanket flowers. So here's what the astilbe should look like. You can see this is blushing. This was on the other side. I transplanted it over here, and because it gets all the water, it's doing great. The coreopsis have opened up. Beautiful, beautiful. These rock crests, the purple rock crests, are so lovely. Just these clusters of purple flowers, and they last a long time. Some more phlox opening up in different pinks. This kind of particular coneflower back here is just lovely. And I don't remember the name of these. I'd almost call it a crocosmia, but I don't think that's right. It is so pretty. It's unique, this chocolatey red color of the leaves, and then those dark red flowers. Just beautiful. The cluster of daisies, doing real well. Look at the Roseanne curling geranium. Boy, it looks really nice and full over here in particular, around the oak leaf hydrangea. Where my work bucket is, I was doing some weeding. It's been incredibly difficult to weed a garden, anything in ground, just because it's so darn dry. And so you go to pull things up and it just snaps off instead of coming up by the root. So yesterday I tried to do some weeding after I watered everything, and that helped a little bit soak up the ground so I could pull up some weeds. It's not bad with weeds by any means, but that's neither here nor there. Oh, yes. Take a look. For some reason, I can't get a blue fescue to grow well here. It just looks so sad, especially when compared to its neighbor, right? That's how it should look transplanted at the same time. Or ideally, this is how it would look. This is the best one that took. I don't know. This is a Mexican sunflower that I planted. Looks like it's gonna start blooming. There are more of them in the vegetable garden. So we'll walk on in. Oh, I have a solution for my gate. I don't know if I remember talking about this with you or not, but I didn't want to bore holes through here for a latch system so you can open and close it from the outside. So I got a very powerful magnet from my workshop, and this is actually the old handle for the old gate, and it simply latches. And the door is so well hung, properly balanced, and this is such a strong magnet that holds it just fine. Ingenuity. Do. This is the second time this poor oak leaf hydrangea cutting has been transplanted, but it's doing well here. And this is the jade that I transplanted earlier this year. And the baby that I cut off. Let's go on in the garden. Oh, the vegetables and the fruits. The peas are done. I was really waiting to just make this video. I could have started pulling it out this last week, but I am going to do it. I'm going to do it. The thing I've been saying I'm going to do for years. I'm going to pull these out now, and I'm going to replant. By the next video, it'll be done. You know, you can see they're nice and yellow. Some final crop after that. Let's go into the fruits. Some joys and some sorrows. I got the first wave of raspberries picked and they were fine, but everything subsequent has just been so dry. Look at that. It's all like this. They're very tiny and they almost taste fermented already on the vine. So I've just been letting those go. And really the biggest sadness are the black jewel raspberries. And look at them. This is tiny. This is very, very tiny. They should be over twice this thick. And these are hard as a rock. So it just tastes like one giant seed on the inside. There's no flavor. And it's like painful to eat. Right? Here. Oh, look at how big. Now this is ripe, but look how tiny it is. Every now and then you can find one that's closer to the size that it should be. Like the big one is closer, but still small. I'm not eating these small ones. I'm just gonna let, even the big one is bad. I'm gonna let them all go. Animals can have them if they want, or they'll fall. It's pretty sad. Happier things though. I did harvest the red currant. And look at how much that bounces back when it's not laden with berries. Black currant is next for me to do, as is the gooseberry. In fact, this is the longest I've ever let the gooseberry go. And now the berries themselves have ripened. So they're this plum purple color, which you can still use in jam and it'll be great. But this is actually what they look like when they're quote unquote ripe, just for eating. And so any of that tartness is just gone. So you can just eat it. It tastes fine. It's a nice neutral. Of course, you still have to knock off the tips and the tails, which I didn't do there. In the vegetables, there's lots to talk about. Back in the summer squash, so far so good. Knock on wood. I haven't had squash bugs, and I think I actually have zucchini setting on. So despite being watered, they're still slow to work. Look, there's some yellow squash. I think that one's forming. Yep. No green zucchini though. Oh, that's not true. Look, there's one. There's one through there. Everything is so delayed compared to years past. You know, one can only water so much. Here, I transplanted one of the yellow squash. One of the yellow summer squash, and it took fine. And here's some of that autumn butternut squash that actually did start from seed, and it's growing very, very well. The 2 extra peppers that I had, and these are more Mexican sunflowers. So this bed, it has had just the hardest time, right? None of the carrots properly took, had to dig it out. And then all the beans that I planted in the back got eaten, had to take them out. The seeds for the squash were slow to start, but in the end, everything worked out just fine. And it should be noted that all of these are zinnias. So we'll have a nice zinnia crop later too. It's time for me to pull out the strawberries on the outside of the bed and put them in the bed. Well, you know, with any luck and dedication, that should be done before the next video too. The peppers have had a growth spurt. They've got lots of flowers and a fair amount of medium-sized fruit at this point of many different varieties. You know, I should properly harvest that banana pepper, and you know, look at all those. They're great, so I can either let them grow or I can harvest some small ones right now. But this has been a successful year for peppers. It's also a pretty successful year for the tomatoes. I've been moderately pruning, but they're coming in such lovely clusters all over the place. I'm still keeping the center nice and open. I haven't experienced any mildew yet. Some of the early ripeners are done. I think we talked about these last time. So I'm satisfied with the tomatoes. And the ground cherries, look at this, completely full. And if you look back at some of the earliest garden videos, these were barely plants. And once they got going, boy, they got going. I don't think any of these are ripe. Oh, sure. That one fell off. But did it fall off early? Yeah, that's still a little premature. But, I sure do love ground cherries. Here's a good one. And we'll be showing this example time and time again. So the ground cherry looks like, oh, and there it goes. Well, they're a later crop anyways. I took out the last cauliflower And here we've got those pumpkins, right? Those tiny, like Chinese pumpkins. And they're starting to spread, which is good. A random bean plant. This flowering, we'll see if we get anything from it. But that is the garden, ladies and gentlemen. Very much overall, I'm quite satisfied with it. There is work to do, as there should be. And we've been harvesting and enjoying the garden. What more could you ask for from life? I'm a very lucky man. I'm happy to be alive. I am happy that it's my birthday. I'm thankful to my family. I'm thankful to the things that I put work into, right? All of this that you see, the garden, the orchard, the flower gardens, the fence, those are my hobbies and my passion, and I'm thankful to be supported in those endeavors that I put forth. So how is your garden doing? Let me know what surprises you've had and how things are in the middle of this hot, dry summer. And I hope we all get rain. That's my prayer for you on my birthday. Let's all get some rain. Happy gardening, guys. Bye.